Good evening, everyone. This is Joe Henches with Beyond the Chart. This is stock market analysis for today. Today is Tuesday, June 3rd, 2014. Tonight, in addition to the U.S. markets, we're going to look at 6 metals and mining related stocks. We're going to look at Caterpillar, Mosaic, Freeport-McMoRan, Newmont, Silver Wheaton, and United States Steel. Okay, Dow Jones Industrial Average is down 21 points today, and I think all three of the markets, in terms of the SPX, the NASDAQ, were down today slightly. So again, we've got some tight trading going on up in here. It's like it's really, I don't know if struggling is the right word or not, but it's very, very quiet. The high and low range in here is what, 46 points? Is that? Yeah, that's right. A high and low. No, that can't be right. Yeah, it is. 46 points is the high and low. Now you notice I've got this 5, Roman numeral 5 over here. Get rid of this. I used to have it here. I moved it over here. We had a slight new high. And I started looking at this and I thought, you know, this now looks a little bit more like this, okay? So you had this choppy but up, and then you got this pullback, and then a choppy as you went to a new high. So here, a little bit choppy, not quite as blended in as this was. Then you got the pullback, and now you went to a slight new high. So in a way, it almost looks like it's duplicating this, and this was a bigger duplication of it also. Now, when you do this, the triangle, the ending diagonal type triangle in here fits this picture with these points in here a little bit better than trying to get in these points here. But that still doesn't mean, I still think we're talking about the end of, minute wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. But again, this market keeps pushing. We're gonna, this may totally morph into something else, but it just has that feel like with this struggling, like it's going to roll over. I hate to constantly just have that feeling, but that's the feeling I'm getting. And when you look at the ADX, which again, I've talked about this numerous times. I mean, the ADX in here is 10 on the Dow Jones Industrial Average. That is absolutely no trend. Okay, so it's been below 20 since all the way back here mid-February, and it was declining from this peak when the trend basically stopped as it rallied back in here. The trend was going away, and then we have no trend, and we've been below. So this entire move of choppiness, even though it's slightly pushing higher in here, so from mid-February, yeah, it's a choppy. This is not a trend, okay? And that just fits this picture pretty well to me. So we'll see. I mean, one of these days we're gonna know. I mean, look at these little doji bars we're getting in this tight range again, compressed again on the S&P 500. So what is this? 7, 6.21, 6.28. Okay, and here was 7.1116. So again, it is even more compressed than back here, and this was the most compressed since I think back in here. Yeah. So now, I mean, this is we're getting some pretty tight compression in here, which you kind of get at the top. And again, we're at the top of the Keltner channels. These dotted lines are my Keltner channels. They have a tendency to put the boundary lines. Doesn't mean you're always going to stop. Sometimes you'll ride those Keltner channels. Let me look at the divergence in here real quick. I mean the ADX. Again, the ADX here on the S&P 500, which is acting a little bit stronger, but it's 16. Okay, yes, it's rising a little bit, but it's still below 20, and it's still just 16. Okay, the New York Composites, the next one, similar type picture. This wedge fits all of these points in this picture. It had a little bit of an overlap here, but again, we're just hanging in here real tight, right at the top of the Keltner channel. It just makes you feel like something's happening. And now the NASDAQ and the Russell are two totally different pictures. Again, I've got a question mark by the head, by the shoulder here, the right shoulder, and it could very well be that that's what's happening. The ADX is light green line, trying to distinguish because this is the directional movement plus, and this is the DI minus. Okay, DI plus and DI minus. This means that the buying pressure is in control, which you can see it's been pushing up in here. The ADX is this average directional indicator, is this light green line, and it's down here and it's now breaking below 20. So the trending downward and then breaking below 20 again is an indication of no trend. So it's just no trend, and being at the top of the channel makes me very suspicious. Russell 2000, similar type thing, and I don't have I should have this in here. Okay, it's starting to break below the 22 on the Russell 2000. Short-term trading index finally getting a little bit of movement, and we had a 0.64 reading today. Okay, now the extreme readings, that's pretty low. I get down in the sixes, 0.6s, but where you get the real low reading, let's go back to like August. Remember August of last year? This low reading in here, 0.49, and one in here, 0.55 closing reading on it. And you go back to May, what is this, 0.58. So if you get down into the 0.5s, and of course now we've got the 10-day exponential moving average, the blue line diving down, it gets below the red line, and we're going to start to be in an extreme. We're going to start to be in these points where it did before, where the blue line got below the red line. Okay, and so that's what I'm looking for. It's starting to happen. Okay, it's taken a long time. We still have this divergence on the VIX. Okay, and now we got the VIX moving up in here. It's interesting. I was looking at this earlier. Let's look at the DI. So DI plus is above DI minus, so it's crossed. Okay. That's an indication that the VIX is trying to move higher. Of course, you can see that. Now, the real measure of the breakout is when the blue has crossed the red line, and it did it on this day, okay? The real buy signal is when the high of this bar has been broken. It didn't break it today. So it'll be interesting to watch to see, do we take out the high of this yesterday? Okay, so let's take a look back here for an example. Okay, here we got a cross. The blue crossed the red, okay? And it did it on this day. Well, the next day you didn't get across, but the day after, it broke this high on this day, and the blue took off, and the VIX took off, okay? And, you know, it's a similar type thing. I mean, that is the signal. So that's what we're watching for. Okay. High-low indicator. That's the other thing, too, is picture... Let me go back so you can picture it. But the Dow, okay, here, see how it's trending up like this? Well, you know, the high-low index is just going sideways. And this is the highest point, and actually, you know, we pulled back down a little bit today. So 135 more new highs than new lows. And it's interesting. I started looking to say, okay, you know, the last time we had the major top back in 2006, 2007. Okay, so here... into late 2006, we got an extreme readings. Then you're moving into 2007. You get some more in the 400s. And then you had this big sell-off in July, August 2007 that then caused the rally back that went to a new high. And there was a bunch of divergences occurred on this October high. And this was the last, the new high before the big crash in 2008. That occurred here. Well, the rally you got, you know, it only went up to like 334, okay? And then as you started to top out and roll over, notice how the most you ever got in terms of new highs exceeding new lows was back in here around 150 one time, okay? What was this? 150 one time, and then it was like around 100, and then a lot of times it was 50 to 100. And as we rolled into 2008, you can just see how the zero line was almost like the upper barrier, okay? And then this huge sell-offs we got into September, October, And then you see the divergences that occurred, okay? As the market kept going lower and lower, and then this was the bottom in March, okay? Well, the new highs minus new lows did not continue to go to lower lows. So we got the divergence, okay, at the bottom. So this is the kind of thing we got to be watching for the extremes, watching to see if this starts to break down. Okay, let's take a look now. Let's jump in. I want to look at Caterpillar first. And I hope I have everything up. I'm not sure if I do. Okay, Cat is getting a lot of divergences in here, okay? And the interesting thing about Cat is it looks like there's 5 waves up. You know, it seems like I'm counting 5 waves up in here. So it looks like it's in corrective action. But the 21's above the 55. I just don't see, it makes me feel uncomfortable that it looks like there's 5 waves up. We're getting divergences. I'm not going to play to the upside here. Now, maybe it rolls, maybe it challenges again one more new high, or you know, this old high, I'm not sure. But right now, I'd be looking for a setup to the downside. Okay, so that's my caution on Caterpillar. When I look at it on a longer term basis, it looks like it's in a big corrective type pattern. Mosaic is one that I was originally thinking this was an ascending triangle. Now I'm thinking maybe not so fast. I'm now thinking this may be more of an ending diagonal type pattern. And notice how it broke down today. I took I had a buy signal in here. I was trying to work it. And then yesterday I took it off. I just got uncomfortable with the way this thing was looking. And then today, as I started to look a little bit more at the pattern, you see this big break. I think this is one move down, like a big A. And then you had an A, B, C, B move. And now I think we're still correcting down to the downside. I just don't see, I think the moves, you're going to lower lows, This big move, it just has the look and feel of a counter trend, A, B, C, and this is kind of an ending diagonal. So I don't have a signal on this, I don't think. No, I'm just, not yet, but I'm just, I just didn't trust from the upper to the buy side. I just have a feeling that this is going to start to continue to roll over, and we'll see if we can't get a play setting up when it does that. Okay, now the next one is Freeport-McMoRan, and I thought I had it, but I guess it didn't. Let me open it up. Okay. This one here too, we had moves up to the upside. I think we had ABC down. I thought we had 5 waves moving to the up in here. 21's above the 55. I'm going to look to see, because the 21's above the 55, on this one, I'm going to look to see if waiting for a possible move to the buy side in here. But I'm a little bit cautious too, because I'm just not quite sure what this stock is really doing. This is almost looking a little bit more like, you know, the trending, a lot of overlapping type thing as it's working its way down. It may have bottomed in here. This may have been it, and it's trying to now get off the floor and had an impulse wave, and then this is the first corrective, and then starting an impulse wave again. And that's why I'm kind of looking to the buy side a little bit, but I currently don't have a signal here, so I'm watching on Freeport-McMoRan. All right, the next one, Newmont. Newmont is in a hard down, and boy, it has been. Of course, anybody who's been watching this stock knows it's been in a big downtrend. There was divergence in here. The indicators did not go to a new low. You see where the divergence occurred in here, and on the RSI. But again, I'm only seeing a 3-wave move here. Okay, 3-wave moves are still corrective moves. Okay, and then you're still getting this choppy overlapping. You had this trend line that got broken to the downside. So again, I'm not seeing anything that's saying a big impulsive move to the upside, you know, up in here. So right now, we just got to say it's still in that downward trending, you know, type of movement that I don't see it breaking out of yet. Now, there's a little bit of a reversal type bar that it's trying to do here today, but you know, you don't want to bet just on one little bar like that. Okay, next one is silver Wheaton. Silver Wheaton we had a nice play on. We went short. I can't remember. It was back up in here somewhere, I think. And we got out down in here, right around that dotted line. The bigger pattern on Silver Wheaton is that it looks like it's in this big symmetrical triangle. You know, if you've got a longer term horizon, it may be one you want to play, because I'm not getting any negative divergences in here. You know, I'm not seeing them. They're not developing. It's kind of the indicators are confirming the move to the downside. The thing you got to be careful of, and what I was really cautious about, and I mentioned this on the weekend, is playing options here, because the average true range on this stock is basically 50 cents, 51, 52 cents. And it's just not going to move a whole lot in a very short period of time. So, I mean, you're going to have some, every once in a while, you'll get that kind of movement. But, I mean, look how long it took to move from 26.5 down to 20. I mean, you know, 3 months. So to move $6.5. So it's, you know, buy, you know, if you really want to play it and you think it's going south with this break, you know, buy a much longer term option, slightly in the money, maybe like a 55 to 60 delta type thing, and longer term out, like maybe August, September, or something like that. I don't know. I mean, that's just a couple thoughts. It's not something I'm going to play right now. I get impatient. I always talk about how, man, I'd love to play this trade in here and hang for 3 or 4 months and 5 months and swing. And maybe one of these times I'm going to do it. I just have a hard time doing it. I get impatient on the trade. And if you'll notice, you go back and look at March and April trades, I think they almost all average 10 days. I would like to start getting to where I'm hanging a little bit longer into some of these trades. And we'll see if we start to get some movement to the downside, then that's probably going to facilitate that. Okay, the last one we're going to look at tonight is the U.S. Steel. And again, U.S. Steel's in a hard down, but I do think we had 5 waves up in here. And I think we're doing an A, B, C type of zigzag correction. And the fact that we're now starting to get some divergence in here, okay? So the stock went to lower, let me blow it up a little bit for you. Stock goes to lower low, but the divergences did not. Okay, the DI minus did not, the red line. This slightly, the demand index is about the same as the RSI, pretty close. So that's an indication that maybe this thing's run out of steam and it's going to want to turn. I do this trend line because that's going to be the real sign that it wants to move and take off to the upside. And that could be interesting, that maybe this is something in sync with something like Freeport-McMoRan. Maybe, you know, McMoRan, maybe they move to the upside in here after a corrective move down. And if you look at, and this will be the last thing, then we'll stop for this evening. If you look at the entire move, how far have we corrected? We corrected a little over 50%. So about, you know, we're about in the upper 50s. So that's a pretty decent correction in here. You know, we did it once and then it popped up, and now we pulled back down in here, and now we're getting divergences. So this could be ripe to go, but nothing yet to buy on. I want to see this start to turn and get above the 10 and get that 10 moving up. So, all right, so that's it on U.S. Steel, and that's the picture of metals and mining stocks that I currently follow. There's 6 of them. All right, we'll be back tomorrow night with looking at the BRIC countries and some of the Chinese stocks. This has been Joe for Beyond the Chart. Thanks for stopping by. And share the post, share the video, and we'll talk to you soon.